Today we are going to be discussing why we have now fit metal clad consumer units, why they came about, and if you should have one fitted. Metal clad consumer units came back into the industry when the regulations changed in July 2015. The main reason these came back in is to protect against any potential fires, because metal is a non-combustible material. Before we had these metal fuse boards, we had plastic, and there was a couple of times which we heard of in the industry where terminals weren't tied up enough, causing an arc, which caused a fire, which set fire to the plastic. The fire spread from the fuse board and set fire to the rest of the house. And that's why they got introduced. In fact, you should not be fitting plastic consumer units anywhere unless a proper risk assessment has been undertaken and the material surrounding the plastic consumer unit is classed as a fireproof enclosure. For example, you can buy big metal cabinets that slot over your existing fuse board to make sure they're protected. But in terms of cost and time and labour, it's actually probably cheaper and safer to upgrade your fuse board. But yeah, as well as that, a few other things came in, which a lot of electricians have to adhere to. For example, any entry holes coming into the fuse board, rear, sideways, upwards, down, have to be fireproof enclosed. So that means your knockouts have to be such as like a fireproof rubber grommet. The back of the fuse board should be filled with fire sealant to protect it, to contain as much as you can the spread of the fire. It wants to be contained in this board long enough for you to escape the property. As well as that, to counter out the problem of potential arcing, your electrician's fits fuse board should be using one of these. It is a torque screwdriver. So that's here. And what a torque screwdriver does is ensure that each one of these screws is done up to the proper tightness to prevent it ever coming undone. For example, I could tug and pull that all I want, that cable, and it won't come out because of how tight I've done them up with this. Again, it's another thing that prevents against a potential fault. In fact, I actually went to a job 2 weeks ago around the corner from where I live, and they'd had no power to their property. She turned on the shower and the power had all turned off. And after a little bit of investigating, I found out the reason why is this main incomer here into the main switch of the house had actually not been tightened up enough. The screws had not been tightened enough. In fact, I could just wiggle it and pull it. And it was causing the arc, which caused no power to the property. And this was a brand new fuse board, metal clad fuse board I might add, but it was a fuse board that was fitted about 2 years ago. And they just didn't follow the proper procedure and didn't time up the screws properly to the right torque set. But that's all they are. In fact, what you may find is if you go to the NIC, EIC website or some of their training material, they'll actually inform you a plastic consumer unit, if it's over a fire escape route, can actually go down as a C3, which is an improvement recommended code. It's not mandatory, but it's improvement recommended nonetheless. If it's not above there, it doesn't go down as a code, it just goes down as a recommendation. And that's all it is. So I just did this little video to try and help you out. Make sure your electrician's following the rules properly. Okay, thank you, bye.